Alright, so in these next few videos, in this series, I'm going to go through what I like to call my body conscious flows or series of movements. And what these are going to help us do is kind of tap into where we may have imbalances and where we may let our posture and our core and different joints break down during certain movements to compensate for things that we may not do well. So in this series, we're just really going to use a few different movements, and then we're going to end on our hands and knees doing a little cat-cow and snake exercise. The flow itself is only going to take about 5 minutes, but we're going to spend about a minute in each position. And again, it's something that you can roll through 2 or 3 times to really get some good mobility in the morning. Or you could do this and roll right into a second body conscious flow to help loosen up in the morning. These are the types of things I like to do right when I wake up, get the body moving, get myself aware of how I'm standing. So to start out, I always like to start in what I call a home base type position, where we have our feet rooted into the ground. You can kind of collapse your feet and make sure that you can press them down to feel the ground underneath the arch of your foot, and then arch them way up. So find a big arch in those feet, and then find kind of the middle ground right there. So you have some support in those arches, but you're not letting them completely collapse into the ground. Coming up the chain through into the hips, I like to squeeze my butt really nice and tight. That'll help you stack your pelvis underneath your back. Along with that, you want to tighten that belly down a little bit. Really squeeze both of those hard, and then relax into it a little bit. We don't always need to feel like we're standing with a stick up our bum, but we want to make sure that we're always supporting here from the core. Next, with that core support, we want to make sure our rib cage is sitting down. If you feel like you're flaring your rib cage, and you can see this big flare in the front of my rib cage, tighten that down. Next, the shoulders, we want them pinched back and kind of resting downward. Again, you don't have to feel like you need to tighten your ribs or your shoulders way back. That may cause us to flare our ribs or break somewhere else along the chain, but tighten them back and then just relax them down away from your ears and head nice and tall. After we find home base, I like to start breathing well in home base. So with our hands on our ribs, we're going to let our low rib cage expand, and then nice long exhales. And we're going to use that breath pattern throughout this entire exercise flow. So keep your home base position, make sure you're supporting but also relaxing into it. And I'm going to get the timer started so we can get going on this about 5-minute flow. So the first minute, you can go right foot forward, get yourself into a little bit of a lunge. You want that knee going right out over the second toe, feeling a stretch here through that back left hip. Squeeze the bottom, keep that rib cage down. And what I just want to do with the arms while we breathe is out, breathe in, and push forward and out. If the balance is a little bit of an issue, that's why I have this chair here. You can always have one arm here and just do one arm back and forward. If you need more of a challenge, try closing your eyes. After we get done with the first minute of standing in this pose, all I want you to do is stand up on the one foot, press this glute back and to the outside, and point that toe back. So we're going to be standing on one leg now. Our leg's going to be pressed back and to the side, but notice I'm not leaning, I'm not arching my back. I'm nice and tight through my core still, leg pressed back and out. And what I want that leg to do is come up and across. So we're going to breathe in as we push back, and again, if you need more challenge, close your eyes. I like to have my arms out here when I do this one. And really this leg movement, I hopefully will make a video soon on diagonals of the lower extremities and the upper extremities, but I'm not going to go through all the complexities. From here, I want you to step your right foot back. Now we're going to do that first position with our left knee forward. Out and breathe in. Forward. Press those hands together. Again, you can make this more of a muscle workout too if you just squeeze back when you breathe in and push those arms forward. Close those eyes if you need to for more of a challenge. I also have a yoga block here. If you're really looking for a challenge, you can set your foot up on something unstable, but don't let that break your core or make you become unstable here. And again, you can have this right here if you need it. If you're really advanced, this is where I would say stand up onto that yoga block and get into your diagonals. So legs back and out, and then we're coming up and across. Down, breathe in, and I really like to puff my air out when I do it, because that's actually something that helps us contract what we call our transverse abdominis, which is like a big core set muscle that keeps our core and our ribs and our low back nice and tight and supported. Again, if you need it, you got your thing right over here. Once we're done with that, I want us to go right down to the ground on our knees. And we're going to go into a cat-cow. So while we breathe, I want you to inhale, arch your back and your neck up towards the ceiling, and exhale, and then round that back down. While we do this, you still want to feel like you're keeping some tension in your core so that you're not just throwing your low back joints against each other, which is why I encourage good conscious breathing. Hands should be right under the shoulders, the knees right under the hips. After we get done with this, I'm going to turn this way, it might be easier to see. I want us to snake. So really what you're trying to do is pull your ribs right on the side down towards your hip. Don't rotate. You want to keep your shoulders and your hips level. But we go side to side, and I like to breathe in to the middle, and then out when I go to the side. In, and then out. Really, that's it. That round of 6 1-minute progressions will really help us set our core, center our breath, and get ready for a day. That's one of my favorite things to do right in the morning. Get the shoulders moving, get the breath centered, and also do a couple of these movements like the cat-cow, the single leg stance, that are going to challenge the body and challenge our mobility just a little bit. It might help you find different areas in your back, in your shoulders, in your hips that need a little attention. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Look out for video number 2.